Man, Star Wars has been such a hit and miss when it comes to almost every single one of their projects. But when it comes to the Acolyte, there's been so much controversy, you'd think the Supreme Court would have gotten involved by now. Some people claim it to be a success and a fresh new look at Star Wars, claiming it to be bold, and others saying that it's absolute garbage with no real story and very little entertainment value. I wonder what Disney will decide to do with this information. Nice right here, and welcome to my awesome subscribers. I hope you're doing great. And if you're not a subscriber, that's all right. I hope you're having a great day too. The Acolyte, a freaking failure of a show, by the way, whose producer fed women to a real-life Jabba the Hutt. This show has had the lowest views in all of the D Plus shows, and it was headed by Leslie Headland. If you don't know who that is, she was a personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein. Man, talk about a 1-2 punch, huh? But the combo doesn't stop there. I've had friends who were interested in watching some new Star Wars and chose to give this show a shot. Bless their hearts. But even all of them couldn't stomach this kind of garbage.
I want to ask you both because this is, I would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And it's pretty gay, let's be honest.
And apparently, neither could a lot of the other audiences. An 18% audience score to really finish up that combo. Let's look at this beautiful headline here, right? The Acolyte canceled. No season 2 for Disney Plus Star Wars series. The story of The Acolyte will not continue, with Lucasfilm opting not to proceed with a second season of the Star Wars offshoot. Probably the smartest thing the people over there at Lucasfilm has done. Word of the decision comes more than a month after the 8-episode first season of the series from creator, director, executive producer, and showrunner Leslie Headland wrapped up its run on Disney Plus. The news is not entirely surprising. The Acolyte did okay with critics, with a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, hold up, that is better than okay. 78% is pretty good, but divided Star Wars fans, which was reflected in its overall viewership. In what world is 18% a divided fan base? That sounds almost united in the thought that this show was terrible. The Acolyte got off to a strong start when it launched on June 4th, with 2 episodes generating 4.8 million views in its first day on the streamer to rank as the biggest series premiere on Disney Plus. The tally rose to 11.1 million views globally after 5 days on streaming, corroborating Disney's data. The series made its debut on the Nielsen Top 10 Original chart in its premiere week at number 7, climbing to number 6 the following week. But The Acolyte could not sustain the momentum, dropping out of the top 10 in week 3 and staying off before returning at number 10 after the release of the finale. 335 minutes, believed to be the lowest for a Star Wars series finale. Yeah, it's not a surprise that people dipped out after watching that nonsense. For starters, that wasn't Star Wars. This show had no real plot. It's like they had an idea for 3 episodes but couldn't figure out what else to do with it, so they ended up dragging it out from 3 to 8, and there was just a bunch of nonsense in between. And this show was just a bunch of woke inserts to reflect Leslie Headland. Nobody cares about that. Star Wars fans tune in to watch Star Wars. Learn how to separate the world and character that you are trying to create from the sad life that you live. People want escapism. And let's not forget, this monstrosity cost $180 million to make. Freaking where, my dude? Nothing on this show looks like it could have cost them even close to $180 million. I don't know about you, but this whole money laundering idea seems pretty legit. I kid. Well, maybe. Variety, The Acolyte is dead. Star Wars series won't return for season 2. Lucasfilm has elected not to continue the Star Wars D Plus series following its first season, which depicted the rise of the Sith roughly 100 years before the events of Star Wars The Phantom Menace. The news comes at once as a shock. To who? I would love to know who this was shocking, given how much the season 1 finale ended on a cliffhanger and teased several plot lines for season 2. That's bold of you to assume that there was even one plot line in this show, and not much of a surprise given the wildly opposing reception from fans and the less than robust viewership that appeared to drop off after the season's premiere in June. But hey, it's not all good news for everybody, because some people do seem to have an issue with this being canceled. Take this article from The Hollywood Reporter, for example. The Leslie Headland created show earned respectable reviews from critics. I wonder why. But was panned by audience with only 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. This Oh my gosh. The show was review bombed from some quarters who perceived it as woke, with certain corners of the internet going after Headland, who is a member of the LGBTQ plus community, as well as a series' diverse group of actors. The copium is ridiculous right now. These people are so quick to blame review bombing in a negative way, but don't understand that review bombing can also have the opposite effect. Like, you can do good review bombing, right? And was that done for the critics' side? Possibly, but those freaks enjoy all the entertainment being sucked out of the media they're watching. What they instead prefer is taking out the entertainment and pushing the message. And that's what the show does. So who knows, maybe they did like it. Then this goes on to talk about people hating on the show because she's in the alphabet community. They run with this after finding a couple of people who said it and assume that these have to be the only reasons why the audience didn't like this show. They're either review bombing it because it's woke or hating it because she's gay. You're telling me once, not once, did it cross your brain that maybe people, real people, hated this show and that's why it got the score that it did? Another one over here. The Acolyte is officially canceled. The Acolyte was a bold new version for Star Wars. Now it's gone. In good riddance. The Acolyte was supposed to shake up Star Wars. Oh, it definitely did that. The series had a female showrunner, and don't forget, personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein in Leslie Henlon, and a black lead. Is there any particular reason why you have to let us know that she's black? And a bold new setting, the last days of the High Republic, 100 years before Anakin Skywalker was born. The series also questioned our understanding of the Force, the Jedi, and the very foundations of Star Wars itself. It was a bold new version for the franchise. The thought of 100 years before is nice. That's a nice thought. Other than that, there's nothing bold in the show. The Acolyte also ended up on a bold cliffhanger, setting its main character on a path towards the dark side, while finally bringing up one legendary Sith character into the Star Wars live action. So it may come as a disappointment. No, it isn't. If perhaps not a total surprise. No, it wasn't. To learn that the Acolyte is canceled. You know what the problem is with this show? They put their identity politics and woke agenda before anything else. You never put your agenda before a good story, because when you do that, you get shows like The Acolyte and, like, coincidentally, She-Hulk, which was also canceled after one season. The very tiny group of people that actually like this show are going to continue to freak out about this being canceled, and they're going to blame a bunch of reasons why, obviously made up reasons, on why it failed. But they need to look at the reality of the situation here. The show didn't get many people interested in even watching it in the first place, and for the poor souls who actually did end up watching this thing, they thought it was just cognitive sewage. But what do you think about this whole Acolyte cancellation? Whatever your thoughts are, leave them down below. And if you like the video, like the video. And if you like this kind of content and want to see more, why not consider subscribing? Thank you all again for watching the video, and until we meet again.